Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Before I get into this video, I wanted to quickly let you know that I will only be uploading on Saturday nights from 9 to 9:30 now. I won't be able to do 2 nightly uploads just because I'm really struggling to come up with some good content at the moment. It's like a block in my brain, and I've also been struggling a bit with mental health, and when something gets a bit too much for me, I have to eliminate one thing just so I can focus on my mental health, and lately it's been my YouTube like copying it. So now I'm just going to only upload once a week until I'm able to, and then I'll start uploading twice a week again. But until then, once a week will just have to do. So now let's get into the video. I mentioned in my previous video that I did a readathon called Adventure Through Wonderland, and it was run by A Touch of Whimsy and I believe the middle grade readathon as well. It was very fun. I really enjoyed it. I kind of wasn't reading all that much because life was getting a bit hectic for me, just more in my brain rather than actually hectic, which is the sad part. But I actually did really well. Unfortunately, I didn't read all of the books. There was just one book that I didn't read, but I am still reading it now, and I'm just going to make it part of this month's reading. But I'm actually really proud of myself, so I'm going to get into that. First prompt is Down the Rabbit Hole, where you read a book set in another world. For this one, I picked Nevermoor by Jessica Townsend. I gave it 5 stars. I really love this book. It is so good. I'm going to read the next book. I don't know when. I've got a lot of books to get through, but this book was absolutely amazing. Now, this is about a young girl called Morrigan Crow, and she is cursed to die on eventide. Everyone blames her for all of the bad misfortunes that happen around town, to the point that her family don't even like her. They basically neglect her and emotionally abuse her, until one day she is taken under the wing of Jupiter North, who takes her all the way down to Nevermoor, where she lives in the Deucalion and a condition. She has to win this trial that will get her part of a community where she will be able to stay in at Nevermoor. If not, she might actually get deported because she's there illegally. But hey, this book is amazing. It also tells you so much about the world at the moment, with how people are treated when they have to go to another place illegally to be safe. In this case, it actually happens in this book, and it's very terrifying. Of course, it's more of a magical version, but it also will introduce children to that type of more deep of a topic and could actually start a conversation. In my opinion, this also isn't really just a middle grade read. It's perfect for adults and children. There's something in this for everybody. There's even more like adult jokes in there. Like there's this smoking room, and it makes you feel some type of emotion where this mist, well, smoke is projected into the room. There is a vampire dwarf, and he likes to correct people that he is a vampire dwarf and not a dwarf vampire. There is a giant cat. She's my favorite character. I love her. She is so funny. And oh my god, she was just like, stole the show for me. Honestly, I absolutely love her. And Jupiter North, the guy that saves Morrigan Crow, he's honestly like the Doctor. David Tennant and also Matt Smith, I believe that was his name. I'm forgetting it at the moment, but the 11th Doctor. I could be completely wrong. I'm terrible with names, so please don't hold me to that if I have offended. I'm very sorry. But this honestly was so good. Morrigan is a perfect role model for younger kids. She has a lot of similarities with Harry Potter, so if you actually are a fan of Harry Potter but you're not too happy with J.K. Rowling and you can't separate the art from the artist, totally understandable. This might be a really good alternative for you because, first off, it's an amazing book. It introduces so many important topics. It also is pretty diverse. It would be nice if it was a bit more diverse, like, but the thing is, I just imagine the characters really diverse, honestly. So if that is something that you really like, I highly recommend it. I couldn't really find many faults besides the fact that I would have liked a bit more of a diverse, culturally wise main cast, as well as just a bit more explanation. Some things were left very much to the last minute to explain, and some of it was very glossed over. So like conversations between Jupiter and Morrigan, sometimes I wish that they were actually in there, rather than it just being glossed over and skipped to the next scene, or us being told what happened in a different scene. I would have much preferred to have just seen it happen. However, I really do like it. I love the friendships built. I love that there are so many lessons in here and so many conversations can be started with younger kids as well as middle grade readers. There's something in this for everyone, and I think it is a beautiful book that so many people will benefit from reading from. So if you are interested, I highly recommend you pick this book up. There will be a link below for all of the books that I have mentioned in this video, by the way. Now the second prompt is Flower Garden. Read an aesthetically pleasing book. Now this book I have picked The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. Now I unfortunately haven't finished this book. I tried to. I finished Nevermoor right at 10 o'clock at night last night, but unfortunately I just didn't have enough time to finish this book. However, I have started it. I'm just off halfway, but I'm really enjoying it. It's going to be part of this month's reading, so I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of what this book is about. This book is about a village that puts a baby out once a full moon, I believe, for this witch to come and eat it. However, the witch isn't mean and she doesn't eat the babies, and the truth is the council that put the babies out don't even believe in the witch. They just do it to scare people, honestly. Scare people into submission. But Zan, who actually takes the babies, is a very kind and caring soul. She gives them starlight to drink, and she will take them off to a family on the forests on the other side and give them to a family who will love and care for that child. And then she goes back and she visits them, and she is beloved by these villagers. These children are called star children. They're lovely, they're happy, they're well fed and well taken care of. Now one day she takes this baby with a little crescent moon on her forehead, and when she's giving her starlight, she accidentally feeds her moonlight, which causes the baby to be magicked. Now this causes many funny things to happen, but it also causes a lot of bad things to happen where her magic needs to be suppressed. This book is amazing. I'm enjoying it so much so far, and it tells you so many interesting things. I love learning about the magic and also seeing so many different perspectives. You will read from a few different perspectives. For example, there is a perspective which it actually starts off in the first chapter where it's a mother telling their child a story. You don't hear the other child's perspective or what they're saying, you only hear the mother's end of it, and I think that is amazing. It's honestly a very solid opening for me. I really love it. The characters so far are absolutely beautiful. My absolute favorite is Glurk. If you've read this and you know Glurk is my favorite so far. He is such a beautiful character, and he knows poetry. Oh, it's beautiful. I'm sad that I didn't finish this book in time, but I'm also very happy that I get to stay with these characters and read more about them. I have picked for 2 prompts, and it was so much fun reading it for these prompts. The first one was White Rabbit's House. Pick a book for a cozy night in, and eat me, drink me, make yourself a cozy night snack. I picked The School of Good and Evil. Now I'm going to butcher this name, I'm very sorry. So Manchanani. I hope I got that right, but I really don't think I did. So could you please, if you could, comment how to pronounce the name, because I will be reading the rest of the books in this series. Before I go into what I rated it, I'm going to quickly say what it's about. This book is about... She takes a long pause. This book is about a village, yep, another village, but in this case, 2 kids every 4 years are taken by the schoolmaster. Everyone is terrified of this guy because those kids are taken away forever. They go to a school and then they will awake, and these children will be in storybooks, reliving these stories and telling these stories. Sometimes they're new stories, sometimes they're old stories, but they never see those children again. One child is taken to be good and the other child is taken to be evil. But not all children are afraid of this. Sophie isn't. She loves the idea of it, and she believes this is her one-way ticket to becoming a princess. So she goes ahead, she makes it pretty clear that she wants to be taken. Her best mate, on the other hand, Agatha, doesn't want to go. She doesn't want Sophie to go either. She knows this is a trap. She doesn't like it. She doesn't think it's a good idea. So when the schoolmaster comes and he goes to take Sophie, Agatha goes with her, basically trying to take her away, but they end up going there anyway. But the roles are reversed. Agatha goes to the School of Good, and Sophie goes to the School of Evil. Are they in the right schools? I don't know. You have to find out for yourself. Well, I do actually know. I thought it was so interesting because I wanted to read a book like this so bad when I was younger, because I thought it was very annoying how always the pretty pink girl who wears all these frilly dresses always became the princess, and the darker person who always had the dark hair and the dark makeup and the dark clothes became the evil person. Why not we show some diversity within the characters with pretty much everything? And this book actually does it. So they twisted it on its head. The entire time you're wondering, is Sophie supposed to be good or evil? Is Agatha even supposed to be here? But then you find out that there is an entire plan behind all of this, of course. And basically it's a beautiful lesson teaching children that your looks don't define who you are, and your looks don't mean anything about your personality. There's also a very big difference between doing things for good because it helps people and for the right reasons, and doing good for good in return. It's a beautiful story. It's just such an amazing story where also the characters save themselves. They find a way to change who they are as people, and it's beautiful. So I encourage people to read this book. I encourage you to, if you have kids, read this to your kids or give it to your kids to read, because they're probably old enough to read on their own. It's very beautiful. Oh, and for Eat Me, Drink Me, I made myself banana bread. I don't have any video footage of this because I was just really enjoying being unplugged and listening to music and reading. But yeah, that's what I did. I had banana bread and I read that book, and it was so much fun. The Queen of Hearts Palace read a book you know you'll love. For this one, I picked Scarlet and Ivy, The Lost Twin by Sophie Cleverly. I thought this book was very interesting, and it's definitely something that I would have read if I actually was around like middle grade age, or I think I would have been 14 actually. I still would have read this book, and I wish I had when this book was published because it was so interesting. This book is about a girl called Ivy. She is invited to go to this boarding school in the place of her sister who had passed away. But the catch is she has to pretend to be her sister. But she finds her sister's diary and she was like, something is very fishy about this. Well, already very fishy because she has to pretend to be her sister Scarlet. The entire book, it's about her and her friend trying to find these missing pieces of her diary to put it all together to find out where her sister is and what has happened to her. I gave this book 3 stars. I really enjoyed it. There were a few things that I didn't like. For example, the first couple chapters is very much like, oh, my sister is so much better than me. I just sit in her shadow. Oh, Scarlet this or Scarlet that. Yeah, she has lost her sister, but it was just a little too much. There also was the thing of believing her sister is prettier than her. I really don't like it when authors do this, especially when they're twins. They are identical twins. They look the exact same. One cannot be prettier than the other when they look the exact same. I don't understand it when there are these twins. They did it in The Cruel Prince as well, where it's like, oh, the features look so beautiful on my twin, but for me, my eyes look bulbous and my nose is too small for my face. You look the exact same, hun. Stop doing this to yourself. I also don't like it because I don't think it's a good message to send to kids. It's okay to have a character not realize their beauty, but the thing is, there's the difference between a character not realizing their beauty and saying these features are ugly. And that is what I found with this book, that it was more saying that these features were ugly, and it didn't really make much sense that the twin that is identical to her is beautiful, but this other twin isn't, when they look the exact same. I don't know, that just doesn't make much sense to me, and I don't really like that. The other thing I didn't really like was more like the polar opposite thing. One twin is crazy and outrageous, the other twin is very much in the shadow and too afraid to do anything, because I myself have been on both ends of it. In high school, I was very outrageous and I would do pretty much anything. I did a lot of pranks. Some of it I'm still a bit proud of, but now I'm more timid and I don't really do much and I will keep to myself. The thing is, being timid and keeping to yourself doesn't mean you're not going to have emotions, and it doesn't mean you're not going to stand up for your mates. That's what I didn't really like, because I see this in so many books where the person who is timid and keeps to themselves never stands up for themselves, never says anything, always keeps to themselves. And that's not really true, because you will eventually get sick of it and stand up for herself. She does do that and she finds the strength within herself, which I really do like, and I hope that happens throughout the series because I reckon I will be reading more of it. Those were the little negative parts. Also some things where I found some I found quite a few grammar errors that were just like, oh, they really ticked my brain and I didn't like it. But I know that kids that are younger aren't really going to care about it, so that's okay. The things that I do like, however, is that Ivy does find the strength within herself. She makes an amazing friendship. Her friend, oh my god, a beautiful little cinnamon roll that we need to protect. Nothing bad can happen to her because, oh my god, if something bad happens to her, I will be enraged. Well, something bad did happen to her, but it's nothing too serious, like she didn't die or anything. The story was very interesting and compelling. It actually caught me by surprise quite a few times. The mystery was so much fun to unfold and the characters had so much life to them. It was amazing to read. It was a little bit cartoonish with the school, but the thing is, again, this is a kid's book, so we shouldn't let that happen. Let's encourage that imagination. I think this book was amazing, and honestly, I thought it was beautiful. I wish I had read this book sooner. Last but not least, Cheshire Cat, read a strange and mysterious book. For this one, I picked the perfect pick of all for this one. Lemony Snicket's A Very Bad Beginning. This book is by far my most favorite book that I've read this month. I have never read this book before, and I am so surprised that I haven't because I've seen the series and I've watched the movie 1,000 times. Now, if you haven't read this book and if you haven't seen a series of unfortunate events, let me give you a quick synopsis of it. This story is about Lemony Snicket unfolding and telling the story of the Baudelaire children. They're one day just enjoying a time at the beach when they're given some terrible news that their family's house has burnt down and their parents have passed away. So they are sent away to their closest family relative that they're not very close to by blood and have never met before, but he's closest in distance, which is Count Olaf. Count Olaf is awful. He's abusive and he made it very clear that he is just after their money. So the children, wanting to find a way to escape him, have to come up with all sorts of plans and such, but he's always one step ahead. This book is amazing. The characters are beautiful. There is this type of thing where the story is told to you rather than it unfolding before your eyes, but it was okay in this sense. I thought that was all right, given the fact that this is about Lemony Snicket telling their story, really. So I thought that was alright. I also really like that this book will introduce these kids to words. I have a pretty wide vocabulary and I like to see this type of book where it will have a word and then have the definition in a bit of a humorous way. It also has a translation for Sunny the baby. Every time Sunny will say something like it's goo goo ga, and it will have like a little subtitle right next to it, and I think that is amazing. There are even like pictures in this book of the house fire. The characters have so many dimensions to them. Even Count Olaf has dimensions to him. He's not a one-dimensional villain, which I really enjoy. And even like poking fun at like theatre groups and all that. I grew up doing musical theatre and dancing and drama, so I'm not offended by it. I actually find it really funny because Count Olaf is a failing actor, and I think that is so funny that they decided to put that part of his character. It was just such a whimsical book. I really enjoyed it. I think it is a beautiful story. I can't wait to read the other books, but I'm not ready for my heart to sink. I read this book in one sitting. It was amazing, and also I highly recommend the Audible audiobook because it's like a radio play rather than an audiobook. There's sound effects and music and a full cast. It really helped me read this book because I was reading it really late at night. But it was amazing. I couldn't put it down, and then I dreamt about it. So makes it an even better book, honestly. So those are all of the books that I have read for September. I really enjoyed this readathon. If it's on next year, I'll definitely take part in it again. I'm very proud of myself for how I did this month, especially because I read these books in about a week and a half, which is what makes it even more amazing for me because I was so busy with assessments and everything. And I am just very proud of myself. It helped me read more. I love middle grade books, and it has introduced me to another way to get out of a reading slump, which is middle grade books. I am so happy. It's amazing to read this many books again, and I hope to continue doing it. Anyhow, enjoy the rest of your day, guys. I'm very bad at outros. Bye!